The scorching winds of Arkara whipped across the desolate landscape, carrying particles of rust and forgotten memories. June gripped the edge of the observation deck, his eyes scanning the endless horizon of a planet that had known nothing but war for generations. The spacecraft Celestial Horizon hummed beneath his feet, its advanced stealth systems rendering it almost invisible against the turbulent sky. Thermal signatures detected. Hana's voice cut through the silence, her fingers dancing across holographic displays. Multiple non-human life forms, but something's unusual. Arkara wasn't just another battlefield. It was a graveyard of civilizations, a planet where 3 distinct alien races had been locked in a conflict so ancient that nobody remembered its true origins. Massive wreckage of previous battles dotted the landscape, twisted metal carcasses of spacecraft, half-buried communication towers, and the remnants of what once might have been thriving cities. Inside the Celestial Horizon, a diverse crew of human explorers prepared for potential engagement. Unlike traditional military units, this team was a blend of scientists, diplomats, and tactical specialists. Their mission wasn't conquest, but understanding. A sudden movement caught June's attention. Through the advanced optical sensors, he spotted a small figure darting between massive rock formations. Not a typical combat movement. This was survival. "Zoom in," he commanded. The holographic display magnified, revealing a young alien, slender, with skin that seemed to shimmer between translucent blue and silver. Her movements were quick, desperate. Something was hunting her. "Rhea," Hana read from the scanning data. "Last surviving member of the Kirilleth clan." The spacecraft's advanced AI began processing environmental data. Radiation levels were abnormally high. Atmospheric composition suggested recent weapon discharge. This wasn't just a conflict, it was systematic elimination. "Prepare reconnaissance drone," June instructed. Silent approach. A sleek, almost invisible drone detached from the Celestial Horizon, its quantum camouflage technology making it virtually undetectable. As it descended, multiple robotic appendages allowed it to navigate the treacherous terrain with spider-like precision. Rhea wasn't just running, she was strategizing. Each movement calculated, each pause meticulously planned. The drone captured her remarkable agility, ducking behind metallic debris, using natural rock formations as cover. Suddenly, mechanical sounds erupted from the distant landscape. Robotic hunters, autonomous war machines left behind by one of the conflicting alien races. Their segmented metal bodies moved with unnatural smoothness, thermal sensors scanning for any living target. The drone transmitted real-time data. These weren't simple machines. They were sophisticated killing units, programmed with complex hunting algorithms. Each unit carried multiple weapon systems, plasma cannons, molecular disruptors, and nano-injection weapons designed to neutralize organic life. June's hand hovered near the weapon systems. Protocol suggested non-intervention. Galactic peacekeeping regulations were clear. Humans were observers, not participants. But something about Rhea's movements, her determination, sparked something within him. "Hana," he said quietly, "prepare selective electromagnetic pulse." Hana raised an eyebrow. This was a direct violation of multiple interstellar protocols. "Are you sure?" The robotic hunters were closing in. Rhea had nowhere to run. Her movements were becoming slower, more calculated. She was preparing for a final stand. "Targeting systems active," Hana announced, her fingers moving with practiced efficiency. The electromagnetic pulse wouldn't destroy the robots completely. It would temporarily disable their advanced hunting systems, creating a window of opportunity. A classic human intervention, strategic, precise, leaving just enough uncertainty. Outside, the landscape transformed. Robotic hunters froze mid-movement, their advanced systems momentarily paralyzed. Rhea, sensing the change, didn't hesitate. She moved with incredible speed, understanding this unexpected reprieve. The Celestial Horizon remained perfectly still, its advanced stealth systems ensuring no direct connection could be traced back to the intervention. June watched Rhea disappear into a complex network of rocky terrain, a slight smile crossing his face. Another day in humanity's unexpected dance with the universe. Mission log? Hannah asked. Minimal intervention, June responded. Nothing to report. As the spacecraft's systems hummed quietly, the first chapter of an extraordinary story had just begun. End of part 1. The communication hub of the celestial horizon buzzed with tension. June studied the holographic displays, showing the complex territorial maps of Arcara, each color representing different alien factions locked in seemingly endless conflict. Rhea's people, the Kirilleth, were caught in the most precarious position. Surrounded by two technologically advanced races that saw her clan as nothing more than an obstacle to territorial expansion. Decades of conflict had reduced their population to barely 1,000 survivors. Incoming transmission, Hannah announced, her voice calm but alert. The alien communication burst through, a mixture of electromagnetic pulses and complex harmonic frequencies. Most communication systems would struggle to decode such a complex signal, but the Celestial Horizon's quantum translator began processing instantly. A holographic representation materialized. A senior alien military commander, his multiple sensory tendrils pulsing with aggressive energy. His language translated roughly to, "Unidentified spacecraft, you are entering a restricted combat zone. Immediate withdrawal is mandatory." June leaned forward, his response calculated and measured. "We are conducting humanitarian assessment of current conflict parameters." The alien commander's tendrils fluctuated, a sign of confusion and potential aggression. Humans were an unknown variable in this long-standing conflict. Previous galactic interactions had painted humans as either passive observers or potential threats. What the alien didn't understand was the human's unique approach to conflict resolution. Hannah began running complex algorithmic simulations. Each conflict scenario was analyzed not just for military potential, but for sociological and economic implications. Where other species saw war, humans saw intricate systems waiting to be understood and potentially restructured. Thermal scan shows significant resource depletion, Hannah whispered, pointing to specific geological regions. The conflict isn't just about territory, it's about survival. The spacecraft's advanced sensors began mapping the entire planetary ecosystem. Underground water reserves, mineral deposits, atmospheric composition. Everything was meticulously documented. This wasn't just a military mission, it was a comprehensive planetary assessment. Suddenly, multiple smaller transmission signals began intercepting their primary communication channel. These were not official military communications, but desperate personal messages, families separated, civilian populations trapped between warring factions. June recognized the pattern immediately. Conflict wasn't driven by hatred, but by systemic misunderstandings and limited resources. "Prepare diplomatic communication package," he instructed Hannah. Unlike traditional diplomatic approaches, their communication would include not just text and verbal translations, but comprehensive data packages showing potential collaborative solutions. Economic models, resource sharing strategies, conflict, resolution simulations, all presented with mathematical precision. The alien commander's holographic representation began changing. The aggressive tendrils slowly relaxed, replaced by a more contemplative posture. Rhea, meanwhile, had found temporary shelter in an abandoned communication relay station. Her survival instincts were extraordinary, understanding complex terrain, identifying safe zones, maintaining absolute silence. She wasn't just running, she was strategically moving, collecting information. The Celestial Horizon's systems detected her biosignature. Advanced medical scans revealed something fascinating. Rhea's genetic structure showed remarkable adaptive capabilities. Her species had evolved sophisticated survival mechanisms that went beyond typical biological responses. "She's not just a survivor," Hannah observed. "She's a living database of her civilization's resilience." June nodded. Humans had a saying, "The most powerful weapon is understanding." And right now they were preparing to deploy that weapon with surgical precision. The communication hub transformed into a complex nerve center. Multiple holographic displays showed planetary topography, population distributions, resource maps. Each data point was a potential pathway to peace. The alien commander's next transmission carried a different tone. Curiosity had replaced aggression. Humans had introduced an entirely new problem-solving approach that neither of the warring alien races had considered. "We are prepared to discuss," the translation came through. "Explain your intentions." June smiled. First contact wasn't about showing strength. It was about demonstrating understanding. The celestial horizon continued its silent orbit, a beacon of potential transformation in a war-torn galaxy. End of Part 2. The abandoned communication relay station became Rhea's temporary sanctuary. Dust-covered terminals flickered with residual power, casting ghostly shadows across her trembling form. She wasn't just hiding, she was processing the impossible events of the past few hours. Massive holographic displays in the celestial horizons. Strategy room revealed the complex planetary conflict. June's team had transformed from simple observers to potential game changers. Their approach was unlike anything the alien civilizations had ever encountered. "Resource distribution is the key," Hannah muttered, her fingers dancing across quantum. Computational interfaces. Complex algorithms revealed the true nature of the conflict. It wasn't about territory but survival. The planet Arcara had been slowly dying. Its three primary civilizations were fighting over the last remaining habitable zones, each believing total elimination was the only path to survival. Humans saw something different, a complex ecosystem waiting to be balanced. Rhea's communication device, a sophisticated bio-integrated neural transmitter, suddenly came alive. Strange energy signatures began mapping the surrounding terrain. She realized these weren't random signals, but a sophisticated tracking and communication network initiated by the human spacecraft. In the Celestial Horizon's central chamber, June prepared their most daring intervention strategy. Unlike traditional peacekeeping missions, they would use a combination of technological disruption and diplomatic reconstruction. "Target the primary conflict generators," he instructed the ship's AI. "Not with weapons, with information." Advanced quantum communication systems began broadcasting complex data packages. These weren't simple messages, but intricate information networks that would slowly reprogram the conflict's fundamental understanding. Economic models, resource-sharing strategies, collaborative survival techniques, all embedded within millisecond. Communication bursts. The first sign of success came unexpectedly. Communication channels between the warring alien factions began showing subtle changes. Automated defense systems started displaying hesitation. Military tracking algorithms detected unexpected cooperative patterns. Rhea watched in amazement as mechanical hunter units, previously programmed for total elimination, began showing signs of recalibration. Their movement patterns changed, becoming less aggressive, more analytical. "Biological intervention successful," Hannah reported, her voice carrying a mixture of scientific excitement and human compassion. The humans weren't just stopping a war. They were restructuring an entire planetary ecosystem's understanding of conflict and survival. June's team had identified the core issue. Limited resources were driving perpetual conflict. By introducing advanced resource management technologies and collaborative survival strategies, they were giving these civilizations a new paradigm of existence. Quantum communication relays began broadcasting sophisticated survival algorithms. These weren't simple messages, but complex information networks that could fundamentally reshape societal understanding. In the abandoned communication station, Rhea's neural implants began receiving unprecedented data streams. Her species' survival protocols were being rewritten in real time. What seemed like random information bursts were actually sophisticated genetic adaptation triggers. The Celestial Horizon's intervention was multi-layered. Technological disruption, information reconstruction, and subtle genetic communication worked simultaneously. Each layer targeted a different aspect of the planetary conflict. Robotic hunter units that once sought total elimination now began displaying collaborative behaviors. Their advanced AI systems were being reprogrammed to understand cooperation as a survival strategy. "We're not just stopping a war," June explained to Hana. "We're teaching an entire ecosystem how to survive together." Advanced. Holographic displays showed real-time changes. Military communication channels transformed. Resource allocation algorithms adjusted. Entire technological infrastructures were being subtly redesigned. Rhea realized something profound was happening. The humans weren't conquering. They were healing her. Neural implants continued receiving complex information streams. Survival wasn't about elimination anymore. It was about understanding, collaboration, adaptation. The celestial horizon remained in orbit, a silent guardian watching a planetary transformation unfold. Something extraordinary was happening on Arkara. And it all started with a single human intervention. End of Part 3. The planetary atmosphere of Arkara trembled with unprecedented tension. Something fundamental was changing, and every living entity could sense it. Rhea watched from her hidden observation point as the first signs of transformation began. Mechanical hunter units that once ruthlessly pursued destruction now moved with calculated deliberation. Their aggressive programming had been replaced by something more complex, a form of collaborative intelligence. Inside the celestial horizon, June and Hana monitored the planetary changes through advanced quantum tracking systems. Each millisecond revealed intricate shifts in communication patterns, resource allocation, and interspecies interactions. "Genetic communication protocols are stabilizing," Hana reported, her fingers dancing across holographic interfaces. The ship's AI was conducting a massive planetary-scale intervention, unlike anything in galactic diplomatic history. The conflict's root cause emerged gradually, a generations-old misunderstanding about resource distribution. What seemed like pure territorial aggression was actually a complex survival mechanism born from extreme scarcity. Quantum communication relays began broadcasting sophisticated survival algorithms. These weren't simple messages, but complex information, networks designed to reshape societal understanding. Each transmission carried multiple layers of information, technological solutions, collaborative strategies, and genetic adaptation triggers. Robotic systems across the planet began displaying unprecedented behaviors. Where once they sought total elimination, now they analyzed, calculated, and proposed alternative solutions. It was as if an entire planetary intelligence was being rewired. Rhea's neural implants received continuous data streams. Her understanding of survival was transforming. The constant fear that had defined her existence began dissolving, replaced by something more nuanced: hope. The Celestial Horizon's intervention was a masterpiece of strategic complexity. They weren't just stopping a war, they were teaching an entire ecosystem how to coexist. Advanced holographic displays showed real-time changes in military communication channels, resource allocation algorithms, and technological infrastructures. Massive communication relays that once broadcasted war messages now transmitted collaborative survival strategies. Automated defense systems began identifying shared challenges instead of potential threats. The entire planetary technology was being subtly redesigned. "We're introducing a new survival paradigm," June explained to Hana. His voice carried a mixture of scientific precision and deep human compassion. "Cooperation isn't just an option. It's the most efficient survival strategy." Alien military commanders watched in confusion as their sophisticated tracking systems began displaying unexpected data. Conflict zones were transforming. Resource-rich territories that were once battlegrounds now showed potential for shared development. The quantum communication network did something extraordinary. It didn't just share information, it created a planetary-wide neural network that allowed different species to understand each other's survival challenges. Rhea discovered something profound about the human intervention. They weren't conquering or controlling. They were healing an entire planetary ecosystem by introducing a fundamental understanding of collaborative survival. Advanced sensor systems detected subtle genetic adaptations. The constant conflict had created unique survival mechanisms in each species. Now those mechanisms were being rewritten to prioritize collective survival over individual territorial expansion. Mechanical hunter units began displaying behaviors that defied their original programming. They weren't just stopping attacks, they were identifying shared environmental challenges and proposing collaborative solutions. "The tides are turning," Hana whispered, her eyes reflecting the complex holographic displays. Entire planetary systems were being restructured at a molecular communication level. The abandoned communication stations that once broadcasted war messages now became centers of collaborative research. Technology that was designed for destruction was being repurposed for planetary healing. June watched the transformation with a sense of profound understanding. Humans had always been excellent problem solvers, but this was something more, a demonstration of how technology, compassion, and strategic thinking could fundamentally reshape an entire civilization's understanding of survival. Rhea realized she was witnessing something extraordinary. The constant fear that had defined her existence was dissolving. The humans hadn't just saved her, they were saving an entire planetary ecosystem. The celestial horizon continued its silent orbit, a technological guardian watching a remarkable planetary transformation unfold. Something profound was happening on Arkara, and it all started with a single strategic human intervention. End of Part 4. The final moments of planetary transformation unfolded like a delicate dance of technological healing. Arkara, once a battlefield of endless destruction, now pulsed with an entirely new energy. Rhea stood at the edge of what was once a war-torn communication center, her body trembling with the weight of unprecedented change. The mechanical hunter units that had once pursued her now moved with a calculated, almost protective precision. Something fundamental had shifted in the planet's entire ecosystem. Inside the celestial horizon, June and Hana watched the final stages of their extraordinary intervention. Their quantum communication networks had done more than stop a conflict. They had rewritten the entire genetic and technological understanding of survival. Planetary reconstruction algorithms are stabilizing, Hana reported, her fingers tracing complex holographic patterns. Each data point represented a life saved, a conflict dissolved, a future reimagined. The three primary civilizations that had been locked in generations of brutal conflict now began communicating in ways never before possible. Shared resource. Centers emerged where battle zones once existed. Advanced technological platforms that were once weapons became collaborative research centers. Rhea's neural implants received continuous streams of information. She was witnessing something beyond mere peace, a complete social reconstruction. The constant fear that had defined her existence was transforming into something entirely new. Hope. Massive communication relays that once broadcasted war messages now transmitted collaborative survival strategies. Automated systems began identifying shared challenges instead of potential threats. The entire planetary infrastructure was being rebuilt from the ground up. "We're not just ending a war," Joan explained to Hana. "We're showing them a new way of existing." The humans had introduced something revolutionary, a comprehensive survival strategy that went beyond traditional diplomatic interventions. They hadn't used traditional weapons or military force. Instead, they had deployed the most powerful weapon in the universe, understanding. Quantum communication networks created a planetary-wide neural interface. Different species could now literally understand each other's survival challenges. Genetic adaptation triggers allowed for unprecedented levels of interspecies communication and cooperation. Robotic systems that were once designed for total elimination now became guardians of collective survival. They analyzed environmental challenges, proposed collaborative solutions, and protected vulnerable populations across different species. Rhea discovered the true depth of human intervention. It wasn't about conquest or control, it was about healing an entire planetary ecosystem by introducing a fundamental understanding of collaborative survival. The abandoned war zones began transforming. Technological platforms designed for destruction were now being repurposed for planetary restoration. Advanced research centers emerged where battle compounds once stood. "Redemption isn't just about stopping conflict," June said quietly. "It's about creating a future where conflict becomes unnecessary." Advanced sensor systems detected remarkable genetic and technological adaptations. The constant warfare had created unique survival mechanisms in each species. Now, those mechanisms were being rewritten to prioritize collective growth over individual destruction. The celestial horizon remained in silent orbit, a technological guardian watching a remarkable planetary transformation. Its quantum communication systems continued broadcasting subtle healing frequencies, gradually restructuring entire societal frameworks. Rhea realized she was more than a survivor. She had become a witness to something extraordinary, a complete planetary rebirth. The humans hadn't just saved her species, they had shown an entire civilization a new path of existence. Communication channels that once carried messages of hatred now transmitted research, cultural exchanges, and collaborative survival strategies. The three previously warring civilizations began sharing technological advancements, medical discoveries, and environmental restoration techniques. "We're introducing a new survival paradigm," Hannah explained, her voice carrying a mixture of scientific precision and deep human compassion. Cooperation isn't just an option. It's the most efficient path to collective survival. As the final intervention algorithms completed their cycles, something remarkable happened. The planetary ecosystem began healing itself. Environmental damage, caused by generations of conflict, started reversing. Water systems cleaned themselves. Damaged landscapes showed signs of regeneration. June watched the transformation with a sense of profound understanding. Humans had always been excellent problem solvers, but this was something more, a demonstration of how technology, compassion, and strategic thinking could fundamentally reshape an entire civilization's understanding of survival. The last transmission from the celestial horizon carried a simple message across all communication frequencies. Survival is a collective journey. Akara had been reborn, and it all started with a single strategic human intervention. End of Part 5.